Hello everyone, I'm reporting here from sunny Southern California. I'm actually out here for a few days for the wedding of a family friend, and while I was out here I thought it would be cool to rent a new Model S long range and do a 0 to 100% supercharging session. Now if I would have had more time I would have liked to have done a 70 mile an hour highway range test, but unfortunately I only have a few hours to spare. And that would take quite some time because the new Model S goes pretty far per charge and don't have the whole day to spend on a range test and charging test. So I decided to grab one on Turo and do a supercharging recording, which I did. Now I just returned the car and the person who I rented it from also has a Model Y, and he also happens to have full self-driving beta installed on that. So he asked me if I would like to come along for a ride along and he could show me how full self-driving works. He just got the Beta 10 version download, so it's got the latest version of this new crazy full self-driving software. We're going to hop in the car now and go for a ride. I've never been in a FSD Beta vehicle before. Of course, I've seen all the videos like I'm sure many of you have. So I'm anxious to see just how good it works. Let's hop in that car now and check it out. But first, don't forget, please click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell if you like what we're doing here on State of Charge. So cool here in a Tesla Model Y with full self-driving beta with my friend, my new friend, Roberto. I actually rented a 2021 Tesla Model S long range from him to do some supercharge recordings. And when I dropped off the car, he was like, hey, want to go for a ride in my full self-driving beta Model Y? So how could I turn that down? Say hi to everyone, Robert.
What's going on, everybody?
So we're just going to do a quick ride because I actually have to be somewhere really soon, but I couldn't turn this down. So we're watching this happen.
Gonna make a left. That's can be tricky even for a new person.
Yeah, this is like a busy two-way semi-highway road, and we're gonna make a left out onto this. So if it can tackle this, I mean, I'd be surprised if it could. I mean, this is a busy two-lane. I mean, not full-on highway, but like, you know, cars are whizzing by us in both directions. It can do this? Well, let's see.
I don't like making this turn by myself.
Here would be an opportunity that I would do it because we only have one car coming and now we're clear. So let's see.
I'm not touching anything.
It's creeping out and it's doing it. Whoa. All right. I got to give it some credit. I would not have wanted to do this and let the computer fully make that turn there, but it actually had a decent opening. I don't know how long we would have been waiting if we didn't have such a good opening like that, but it did it, so I can't complain. Well, that was a little bit of an abrupt turn into the right lane.
Got the visualization
Yeah.
of the people. It's really awesome.
Yeah, you can see there's people standing here on the corner, and
Just creeping forward for that.
yeah, it doesn't pick up all of them, but it shows that there's a couple people there. Because these people are kind of standing in a row. Now they're crossing. Pretty wild. I mean, I've seen these on YouTube, but I haven't sat in the full self-driving beta yet. And okay, let's see what it's doing here. It gave us a little warning. I'm not sure why.
It asked me to check in to make
to make sure.
I was
Okay.
paying attention.
So you still have to, now this is interesting because we're coming up, there's cones on the side of the road, and it did kind of merge around them.
So I just gotta touch that.
Yeah, it wants to know that you're there and alive, right? So that's cool. How long have you had this full self-driving beta?
Maybe like a year, close to a year.
Oh wow, so you're really one of the earliest people to have it. Now this is interesting. We've got a bunch of cones coming up here, and this lane is going to merge, and it did the merge. Put the blinker on, and it merged into the next lane. So actually did a pretty good job with that. And now it just merged over again. Robert had to touch the steering wheel to just let him know he was there. He actually touches the, I noticed that the little speed wheel, rather than tugging on the steering wheel itself, if you just twist that a little, it knows that you're there and you're alive and you're functioning. So we have about a mile to go to our destination. So far, it's performed very well, in my opinion. It's maybe not quite as smooth as a regular driver. I noticed when we went into that right-hand turn lane just on the past block, it kind of abruptly shifted into it, but you know what, it executed it, it put on the blinker, and it did it just fine. So I really can't complain much about that. Have you had any instances where like you really had to take over, where you were going to hit something?
Especially when it first started.
Yeah.
It's made major improvements since it first started.
How often do you get like an improvement, like an update? Do they come frequently, or?
Every now and then. Right now we're on FSD Beta 10. It's the newest one. Got released Friday.
Cool. All right, well, so make sure he's there. So we are cruising on South Bristol Street in Santa Ana, California, in full self-driving, full FSD Beta 10. And a truck just went by us at like 70 miles an hour. maybe not that fast. It's just that he had loud exhaust.
This is a pretty easy location. Do you want me to give it something a little more complicated real quick?
For a little bit, that'd be fun, yeah. Why don't we? So no, it's interesting.
So it stopped
here
because I changed the
location.
Oh,
yeah, that wasn't what it would want to do if we were just still driving. All right, so now you're taking us to...
It'll make a couple turns and that's it.
Cool.
We won't actually go there.
All right.
And so it's going to have to make the very next left, or the right. So let's see if it'll switch over in time.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I see there's a right-hand turn up there, only a couple hundred feet. We've got to get over 3 lanes. So let's see what happens after the light turns and how it negotiates getting over across 3 lanes to make that right.
It's gotten a lot better since I first got it. A lot better.
Well, that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
All right. He's letting us know we're there. All right, we're over 1 lane. Actually, those 2 lanes merged into 1. Now we're actually, it's having a little difficulty. It slowed up and it's getting us over. Okay.
I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. It just probably would have backed off that Pathfinder a little bit sooner than what the car did. All right. Now it's getting us over to the middle lane. I mean, it's executing everything fine. It's a little bit unnatural. Like I think a human would act a little bit differently, a little smoother. But that all can get adjusted. I mean, it's performing all the tasks we needed to perform. All right, let's come over, making a left here. No interaction whatsoever from Robert, except when we changed the destination before in the middle of that intersection. Probably not the wisest thing to do, but we didn't plan this out. This was like the last minute thing that he said, hey, while you're here dropping off my Model S, you want to go for a ride in FSD 10? So you don't turn that down. Okay, so the light turned yellow and we applied the brakes. Well, we didn't. The car did and stopped at this red light. Again, I think that's something.
This is pretty awesome.
Let me see. That's cool. You can see the whole intersection here. When you twist it around, you see the cars coming out from each direction. It shows there. See, that's another instance where I think most human drivers would have probably just went through that yellow. But the car sees that it's yellow and, you know, says, okay, we want to stop here.
I could have overridden it by pressing down the gas, but I wanted it to just do it itself.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I want. I want to see exactly how it behaves. But that's actually better. I mean, we shouldn't be accelerating through yellows, you know, to get to the other sid. I think most humans do that. But you know, the car is going to err on the side. Okay, so now it turned green and it's taking off. And it was pretty quick. It wasn't like it sat there and we waited for it to take off. We accelerated as quickly as the Tahoe next to us did from that light when it turned green.
Let's confuse a little bit. Take me to CVS on South Bristol Street.
All right, we're trying to confuse it. We changed the destination. There's a bunch of turns coming up at that, so let's see. It even has to make a U-turn.
And this way we'll go back towards.
We'll head back.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's making me give it a little gas.
Yep. So it stopped at that green light. Okay, so that was a little bit of a blip there. We had a green light and it stopped, but Robert just it's doing it again here.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's not cool. I mean, it functioned. It went through the light, but it braked hard before the green light. Maybe it couldn't tell if it was green. I didn't see what it said on the screen. Is that something that you feel that you witness frequently, or is that something that a rare occurrence?
So,
all right, turn. Well, no, it was going to turn. We're getting beeped at right now. It's not sure what to do. The steering wheel is kind of going back and forth. We're getting beeped at.
Pressing on the accelerator
all right,
there.
Roberto's taking over for a minute.
Just press on the accelerator.
Yep.
And it's getting in front of the guy that beeped us. Yes.
Oh,
no. Oh no. All right, I'm taking over.
Yeah. All right, you had to take over.
That was pretty good that was a pretty good track. I confused it and it did that. I think what it was doing there is, if you look at the autopilot settings, traffic light and stop control beta. That's kind of one of the things. If you turn off FSD. I was gonna let you read that, but I'll just take over and we'll head back home. Unless you want me to do it, just block out my address on the way back home. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you do that? Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting what happened there. The car kind of wanted to get in the left-hand turn lane, but couldn't, because the car that was beeping at us was kind of right behind us, and it couldn't get in. So we just took over driving.
When I got an FSD Beta 9, I was recovering from a surgery, so I couldn't go out. But I took it out, and I took it out to all the hot spots in Orange County where people would go party at night. And it maneuvered those areas where people are like jaywalking and stuff. I had to hit the gas there a little bit.
Yeah, because you see that there was a truck turning left right out of a gas station. It looked like it was going to come into our lane, so the car stopped. All right. Think green, think clean.
Before they improved the visualization, I'm sure you saw on YouTube videos where like there's like dots and stuff. It looked like a video game from the 80s.
Exactly. Yeah.
It actually picked up a lot more stuff. Like it actually identified things before I would even see them. It was really cool.
But it hasn't regressed, right? It
just doesn't show.
It doesn't show it. Yeah.
Okay. Now it's just the pretty visualization.
Yeah.
I'm sure it still sees it.
Right. You just don't see it.
Yeah.
On the screen. Have you driven it like in rain? And does it perform any differently?
I've driven it a ton. You just always got to be paying attention. You never want to.
Yeah.
I always try and pay attention, but I remember when a couple months ago, me and my friends in a more complicated place let it take us to In-N-Out, and they'd never seen it before. They were visiting from out of town. They were like stoked. And here in this area, it's like really straight, but now where we were in Newport Beach and Costa Mesa, there's a lot of curves, a lot of things, and it was at night, and it did it all. Till we got to In-N-Out, I had to take over to go through the drive-thru.
Yeah. The In-N-Outs are insane out here. Sometimes the lines are wrapped around the corner.
It's fresh, good food.
Yeah.
Double animal style.
I gotta hit one up before I go home for sure.
I'll do it now.
But yeah, even with the FSD, with the Tesla Autopilot, you have to be sitting there and ready. See, somebody just cut right across from us. The car did kind of aggressively brake there, but that's again out of an abundance of caution. But you have to be at the ready. You know, so many people think autopilot, you know, they'll pick up their phone, start texting people or whatever. You have to be. I have a Tesla Model 3. I use autopilot all the time, but I'm always just there watching and ready to take over when need be. These cars are not, I know it says full self-driving beta, but they're not full self-driving yet. I mean, they're performing amazing tasks. Even with the little blips we've had here today, it's amazing to watch this, to see how the car is pretty much doing, you know, 99% of everything. But it's not there yet. It's still going to take some time, and people have to understand that.
I think it still says on Tesla's website full self-driving capability. So the car is capable of it. It just still needs to be improved.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of full self-driving as a name until it really is, but I understand that's what Tesla's using. You know, even the autopilot, I think they could have perhaps used a different name. I think that confuses people. But I know they put the disclaimers there. They explain to you that you need to be able to take over at any time, but you know, people, you know, humans aren't smart. And we've seen a lot of people have a lot of problems with the fact that they think it can just perform 100% of the time, and it can't. It just needs to make that mistake 0.1% of the time, and that's all it takes. Wow. Okay, so the car just tried to switch 2 lanes at once, and it cut across the middle lane. We were in the left lane, and it started going into the right lane, but then it cut back. I think Roberto was just about ready to take over, but he didn't.
There were no cars behind us, so I was like, let's see what let's let it ride.
See, so I mean, that's the thing. Every now and then, it's going to do these weird quirks. That's going to happen. This thing is not fully baked yet. It performs really well, but it's not fully baked. So I did go back and take a look at that maneuver in slow motion, and I don't think it was trying to cut across 2 lanes. I think it was just trying to go to the middle lane. However, it made the maneuver so abruptly that it overshot the middle lane and went 3 or 4 feet into the lane to the right, and then had to correct itself. It was definitely not what I would consider acceptable for a lane change. It happened abruptly. It did put the blinker on, but it really violently put us into the lane to our right, to the point where you could see even Roberto, who drives this, went, whoa, because it was definitely not a maneuver that you would find acceptable. And it didn't take long for the system to make another less than stellar move at the next intersection.
Some sort of coating on the cameras, and it does a lot better.
The car says it wants to get in this lane, but it kind of waited too long. Now we're half in the middle lane.
So we'll look behind us,
make sure nobody's coming, because we're half between 2 lanes, and this is a road that people are driving quickly on. All right, we got away with it. And now it's a yellow, red for the left turn, so it's stopping. See, that's something there that an observant driver, at least, maybe not everyone, would have gotten over to the left a little bit sooner. The car tried to get into the left-hand turn lane almost when it was too late, when there was already a stack of cars waiting, and it was too late to get behind them.
I think what it does is because there were so many cars right there, I would have gone into the safety lane, to go into the turning lane, right? And the car waited instead until the safety lanes were gone before it attempted to get in. But there were so many cars far back that it got stuck in that weird angle.
Yeah.
I've seen it progress. It's gotten a lot better. That was pretty good. What I'm curious about is how it's going to perform without the radar on the newer cars, because
And this car has radar.
this one does. Yeah. It was
And it still uses the cars that are radar enabled, right? Or did it just stop using the radar?
I think on the Model 3 and Y, it stopped using the radar. On the S and X, my new S with the yoke, I'm pretty sure it still uses the radar, because now it limits me to 80 miles an hour on autopilot on the freeway, whereas before it didn't.
Okay.
But on the Model S, I can still go above 80 on autopilot.
Yeah, it's an interesting call by Tesla to stop using the radar. Most industry experts that are involved in self-driving technology say that it's just an extra layer of safety, that, there's not a negative in having it there. I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems like when Tesla first announced it, it seemed like a little odd to me, because they already had it. I could understand them saying, we're not going to do LiDAR because that was never installed. That was never part of their plan. But for them to say, oh, we're just going to stop using this that we've been using all along. But perhaps they know what they're talking about. All right, we're making this left-hand turn now. And we went a little wide, but it performed it fine. Getting close back to Robert's place. Roberto, I'm sorry. Keep calling you Robert.
Now, me and you probably would have gone through there, but it waited.
Right.
And
Now it's going to make the right. I guess it identified that as the shoulder, not a lane. All right, made the turn just fine.
Autopilot navigation complete. Take over to park. I never saw that before. That was
Okay, interesting.
cool.
Yep, and this is right at his house. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you got to see that.
That was an absolute great bonus. I was not expecting this. You rent a Model S long range for the day, and you get a bonus ride in a Model Y with FSD 10. Man, that's awesome. Thanks a lot, Roberto.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Take
Have a
care.
good day, guys.
Okay, what'd you think? Now I want to note that I didn't have the best camera angles. I didn't have my gear all set up like I would like to have had, because this really was a spur of the moment request. I had no idea we were going to be able to do this, so I was just basically holding my phone and recording this as we drove. I'm both impressed and a little disappointed at the same time. It was able to do some really cool things, and I really have to commend Tesla for pushing the envelope and really getting out there with pioneering self-driving technology and really pushing the limits on where we are today. But at the same time, it's pretty evident that the system is far from being able to be widely released to the public. It still makes quite a few mistakes. It's not really that smooth. That's probably the biggest disappointment that I had. I knew it wouldn't be able to handle certain situations. I mean, where it is right now, that's just evident. But I thought it would feel smoother, making lane changes and turning. It really was quite jerky. It wasn't really that smooth in a lot of the operations that it performed. Now it performed them, which in itself is I guess, a victory. And it's amazing some of the things it did. Like in the beginning, I really was surprised that it was able to get out onto that very busy road with traffic moving at maybe 50 miles an hour in both directions. That was an intersection that I wouldn't even like to do on my own. But I did note that it did have a good opportunity. There was a period where there was really very little traffic coming from either side. It had a really wide space for it to jump on, and it recognized that and took it. So, I have to commend it for that. But some of the turns and lane changes were quite jerky. And as you can see in the video, in a few instances, it didn't quite know what to do, and Roberto had to take over. But, you know, I want Tesla to keep moving forward with this. I want them to push the envelope. I want them to complete this and get us to the point where we can hop in the car and just give it a destination and let it go there. Personally, I think we're many years from getting there, from just hopping in the car and say, hey, take me to work, and then I could just pick up my cell phone or my tablet and you know, look at it or surf the web or work or whatever. I don't think we're getting there for a long time, but hey, we'll never get there if we don't push the envelope and you know, try to make improvements, and Tesla's doing that, so I commend them for that. So hey, what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below, and we'll have a little discussion on Tesla FSD. Are you impressed? Did you think it was going to perform better? Do you like the fact that Tesla, you know, put this in the hands of a couple thousand people that aren't necessarily, or definitely aren't engineers or people that are properly trained to use it? So far, there hasn't been any problems. We haven't heard any reported accidents or incidents where people have gotten hurt with this, but do you think that that's a concern? Let's talk about all that in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.